Oh, hey, troop transporter. Nothing much. Just sitting here thinking about how boring it used to be to take road trips when I was a kid. There wasn't anything to do, really. I mean, we didn't have smartphones. I couldn't tweet out stuff. Couldn't get on MySpace. It was boring. You would just sit there and watch the cars pass by. Yeah, I mean, we had a few things to play with in the car, I guess. I remember I had this water game where you tried to get the rings up on these little pegs, but every time your dad hit a bump, you had to start all over. And then I had an invisible ink pad that I bought at Stuckey's. That was always a lot of fun, especially if I got to play hangman with my sister. You're right, it was pretty boring. But what did you do as a kid when you went on road trips? Cassette tapes. Yeah, I had a lot of cassette tapes too. You know, I had my Walkman, put them on, listen to a little bit of music. That would help pass the time. That's not what you're talking about? Cassette tape games? Indiana Jones? Star Wars? Little Lulu? I need to know more about this. Just my luck. But hey, I'm gonna look it up and find some more information about this. This sounds really good. Thank you so much, Troop Transporter. We'll talk again soon. And for you, I'm gonna tell you about the travel games that were cassette tapes. Kinda. Oh, welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back to tell you about some toys that you don't know about. Well, some of you don't know about. We got a couple of groups here. We got the one, ooh, I didn't know about that. The I knew about everything group. And then we got the group that don't know about it, but they'll say they knew about it all along. But even if you knew about this, I hope you have a lot of fun with this video, because I'm going to have a lot of fun telling you about it. We're going to go over to Spain this time. Yesterday we went over to Italy, I believe it was, off the top of my head, to tell you about the time Ewok figures came with glue. For today, I'm going to tell you about some games that you can play with in your car. Now, a lot of them are just generic type games. We're going to look at all of them, but there were some based on movies or licensed, I should say, stuff. Superheroes, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Barbie, and as I said in the teaser, everyone's favorite, a little Lulu. I don't know why they call her little Lulu. She wasn't too little, but that's fat shaming and that'd get me canceled. So, before we get started, as always, just a reminder that this weekend all t-shirts are on sale at junkmanmerch.com, like this one right here. And as always, become a Patreon supporter and you'll get the 5 o'clock daily video, or a little early, Monday when we do the Star Wars live stream. You'll get the after show and some other perks also. Don't forget the live streams are 11 a.m. for pop culture talk in the morning, and each day, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a different topic. We got Star Wars, the action figure show on Tuesdays. Wednesday, we talk Indiana Jones. Thursday, Star Trek. Friday's a free-for-all. So that's a lot of fun. We have a good community over there. People talking, chatting, having fun back and forth. Have a lot of fun. Play video clips. Tell you about toys, movies, and stuff. It's a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. And also check out the other channel, That Junkman Live. Links in the description below, or just go right there. Subscribe to that channel where we move the lives over there for replay. But I'm blabbing, blah, blah, blah. You didn't come here for that. You came to hear about travel games. Now, as I said in the opening, travel games wasn't that fun when I was a kid. Of course, you had the water game, and later in the late 80s and early 90s, you had Game Boy, which helped you out some. The batteries would last for about 20 minutes. But other than that, you would have kind of much fun playing Dr. Mario or Tetris or Maze Craze or something. But didn't really have good travel games. But if you lived in Spain, at least you had some that at least looked fun. These were a small board game that you could take in the car with you and using magnets to hold the pieces on. But what made this toy so unique is the look of it. They made the game look like a cassette tape. And that made it easy for travel, because anyone that grew up in the 80s, if you had a boombox or a Walkman, you carried your cassette tapes with you. They would fit into your pocket pretty easy. And they really went with the gimmick. I mean, they not only did they make it look like a cassette tape, they actually cased it in a box that looked like the cassette tapes came in. You know, the plastic, I guess it was glass, but it wasn't glass. What was that made out of? What was those cases made out of? Clear plastic, I guess. You opened them up, cassette tape was inside, had the little cardboard insert that told you all about the album tracks and everything on the album. They went with that. They went it all. Instead of listening each track, you know, an album released each track on the cassette tape, they released other games you could get. And like I said, they did licensed games, but they did some generic ones also. So I thought it'd be really fun to take a look at these games. I can't say if they were fun to play. They might have been horrible games, and maybe they were all like the same, but I thought it'd be fun to take a look at each one. And don't worry, we will get to the licensed ones, the ones you probably all came here for. Star Wars. They made Star Wars. But let's start with some of the more generic type games. And the first one we're going to look at is for you monster fans out there. Dracula's Mansion. That's right. Even Dracula has a home, and it's not some little shack. He lives in a mansion. Let's take a look at this cassette game for Dracula's Mansion. As you can see, like I said, they come like cassette tapes. You've got the cassette tape that unfolds into a board, and you got a little case that the cassette slips in. Now, this was a Dracula's game. Again, I'm not really sure how you play it. I don't know the details of it, and it came with little magnet pieces, so the pieces would stay in place while you played the game if you're traveling. Not only was this great for fun in the car if you sat in the back with your brothers or sisters, but also if you were at that hotel room that night, your mom and dad's watching 60 Minutes, you had nothing else to do, you and your friend or your brother or sister could play the Dracula Mansion. Now, it wasn't just monsters that got a game. There was one generic thing kids loved in the 80s, UFOs. We loved them in the 80s, we loved them in the 90s, and we still love them today. They went from looking like flying saucers to looking like flying Tic Tacs, but we still get a kick out of hearing about UFOs. And there was a cassette game about UFOs. Let's take a look at that one. As you can see, these games all look the same, where they look like a cassette and they unfold. This one here is called UFO Attack. That's right, watch out, the UFO's about to attack. And do you know how hard it is for this video to talk about each one of these games when I don't know how it's played or anything about it, but I have to talk about something while I'm looking at the photos, and I just have to try to keep you entertained until you can see the next one. And we're going to talk about that next game right now. So let's cut back over to where I tell you about the next one. Whew, didn't that UFO game look fun? Well, what about the travels of Ulysses? Shit, I can't talk or pronounce anything. Okay, so let's find out about Ulysses. Who is he, what is he, or whatever. Let's take a look at the travels of Ulysses, the cassette game. And here's the travels of Ulysses. Again, looks like a cassette, comes in the cassette case, and unfolds into a board game. Pieces that have magnets on it, so your pieces don't go flying all over the place when your dad hits that pothole that he hits every single time y'all leave the neighborhood. You're like, come on, Dad, you know that pothole's right there after you turn on the Hyde Park. Yet, every time, your dad's gonna hit that pothole, and your mom's gonna yell at him, "Oh, Mark, you're gonna bust a tire. We don't have the money for another tire." But at least you could be sitting in the back playing the travels of Ulysses. At least if you lived in Spain or had a good friend over there that did, that could buy one of these toys and send it over to you. Whew, that looked a lot of fun, didn't it? That board game looked crazy on that one right there. Well, let's take a look at Safari. Yeah, we all was into the Safari back in the 80s. I mean, we love to talk about tigers, lions, and bears. Oh my, let's look at the Safari cassette board game. For most kids, if you saw a lion or a tiger on something, you would want to buy it, especially if it was a game. In order of this game, everyone got a chance to roll a die. And if you rolled a 7, you got to punch your little sister in the face. Okay, I'm just teasing you. I don't really know what this game's about or any of these games about. I couldn't find any good instructions or really what the game was, but I'm pretty sure they're just a little simple, easy to play board game that probably really didn't need any instructions. I mean, we're not talking about a complicated game like Uno. We're talking about a travel board game that looks like a cassette. Now, in the 80s, not only did we love anything that had to do with safari, not only did we love mansions and Dracula, and of course we loved Ulysses C. Grant. What else did we love? Space. Anything involving space. And we talked about UFOs, but we loved a good space race. Racing in space. So let's take a look at the cassette travel game, Space Race. Here it is. Start your hyperspace engines. It's time to join the space race with a game that looks like a cassette tape that you could travel with you. The Space Race. I'm going to talk more about Space Race while you look at these pictures, and I sit here and act like I have all this written out and I know what I'm going to say ahead of time. I would love to tell you all about the makers of it, how they pick these colors for the game, but I really can't tell you that much about them. Whew. We love space. We loved UFOs. We loved biting people on the neck inside of a mansion, and of course we loved Ulysses C. Grant. I think that was his name, right? And you know what else we loved to do when we were in the back of the car? And hopefully no one was looking. We like to play doctor. And yes, with these cassette board games, you could play doctor. Let's check it out. It's called Medical Check. Now how'd you play this game? Well, it was pretty easy. The first player to get AIDS wins. Okay, I made an AIDS joke. That was poor taste. I'm really sorry. But we're talking the 80s here. There were a lot of AIDS jokes going around. I guess I could have came up with something better. I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. Don't complain. I made an AIDS joke. Oh, I'm better than that. No, I'm not. Anyway, this is Medical Check. It was always fun to play like you were a doctor when your little cousin Leroy came over. Trust me, I know about that. One of the most popular characters in the 80s in pop culture had to be, without a doubt, Little Lulu. Everyone knows Little Lulu. Everyone read this comic. Probably one of the most successful comic superheroes there's ever been. Move over, Captain Marvel. Little Lulu's in town. And yeah, they called her Little Lulu, but she was really a big Lulu. Not to fat shame anyone. Again, oh my God, I'm getting canceled. I'm making A jokes, and now I'm making fat jokes. Oh my God, what am I asking for? YouTube, I'm sorry. Please don't cancel me. Please don't get me banned. Let's look at Little Lulu. Here it is, the Little Lulu board game. And this one looks like a cassette. Okay, so they all look like a cassette. Are you getting tired of looking at these generic games yet? Well, this one's not generic. This one's based on a character, Little Lulu from the comics. I don't know if it was DC or Marvel or some other comic company, but I'll say that Little Lulu is part of the MCU. If she's not part of the MCU, well, damn blam it, she should be. She is probably the most famous superhero female there's ever been, although she has one of the stupidest haircuts I've ever seen. Now this one here, I almost forgot to talk about, so I'm adding it in the middle here later. A little magic secret called editing. Remember Inspector Gadget? That's right. Get Smart himself did the voice, and you watched it. Let's look at the Inspector Gadget cassette game. Yeah, we all remember this show from Nickelodeon. It's Inspector Gadget. What does he have up his sleeve? Well, that's anyone's guess when it comes to Inspector Gadget. But here he is with his travel game that looks like a cassette tape. Open it up, take it out, open up the board, and play Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget. I don't know if that's how the song goes, but that's how I'm going to sing it. I know, we're getting the generic stuff out of the way, or the stuff you don't really care about. Don't worry, we got the good stuff coming. I've got to milk it to the end, right? Now let's get this one out of the way just so we can say we talked about all of them. Barbie. It's a Barbie's world, and you couldn't do any kind of game without Barbie in it. This was one just to make the Spanish girls happy, I guess. Check it out. Come on, Barbie, let's party with the travel Barbie game that looks like a cassette. You pull it out, you open it up, you play the game, it's Barbie. I don't know, I guess you got to be the first one to buy a pair of shoes or a dress or something girly, I'm sure. This game was made for girls. Oh God, I did it again. I'm gonna get canceled. Picked on AIDS. I picked on fat people, and now I'm saying that a game was made for girls, when we all know there's no such thing as a gender. Games aren't made for girls. Games aren't made for boys. Games are made for everyone. It can be played by boys or girls. What am I doing? Why am I such a toxic male? I don't understand. I'm so sorry. Okay, guys, we looked at Barbie. Now let's get to the three ones you're here to talk about or look at. First, let's start with one of the most popular characters out today, the MCU. Spider-Man, Captain America, you name it. If it's part of the MCU, they're on this game. Okay, maybe not. Sorry, there's no Captain Marvel, no WandaVision. It looks like none of the female superheroes made the board game. Let's look at superheroes for Marvel. Here's the superhero game. As you can see, it has the always cool Spider-Man. It also has Captain America. And it even has Thor. Can you believe it? It has Thor. When you open it up, it has more superheroes. Or should I say villains. It has this guy with wings on it. I'm not really sure who he is. But it has the Green Goblin. No, that's not Hobgoblin. That's the Green Goblin. It also has what I think is Red Skull, but I could be wrong. And there's Doctor Doom. And there's that octopus guy that I once saw in a Spider-Man movie. It has them all. But again, there's no females on this game because this game was made for boys. Oh God, did I do it again? Did I just say a game was made for sex when it's freely that anyone can play this? There's no such thing as boy toys and girl toys. I'm so sorry. Again, YouTube, please don't cancel my channel. I'm so sorry. Oh, God, I'm gonna get this. Why do I take chances like this? Why do I risk losing this channel? I would like to apologize if I have offended anyone watching this video. I did not mean to apply that only girls could play certain games and only boys could play certain games. If you're a boy and you want to play Barbie, go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, I used to play with my sister's Barbie dream house when I was a kid. Although I let Indiana Jones play inside of it. But anyway, let's get this video over with. We got two more to look at. And most of you will say, I know Junkman, he's going to save Star Wars for the end. You're wrong, because we're going to talk Star Wars now. Because the next one after Star Wars is probably even cooler. So, let's take a look at the Star Wars game that looked like a cassette tape. Here it is, the Star Wars game, unfolded for a cool looking board. And you can see Obi-Wan Kenobi, weird looking Luke Skywalker, of course 3PO, and R5-D4, looks like R5-D4 to me, and Darth Vader. Get your little pieces, that's a magnet. Unfold it and get ready to play the game. It looks like it's going to be so much fun. Hey, you want to be Luke? No, I'll be Darth Vader. Okay, let's go. Let's rescue a princess. It's going to be so much fun. So we looked at Star Wars. We looked at those Marvel superheroes, Barbie, Inspector Gadget, Dracula, UFOs. Let's look at one more. And as far as I know, these are all the ones they made. At least that's all the ones that was listed on the cassette tape or the cover of the cassette tape. This is probably the one I like the most because you don't see a lot of Indiana Jones stuff out there. Star Wars you do, Barbie you do, Marvel you do. But when it comes to unique Indiana Jones stuff, it's always good to find. Yep, an Indiana Jones travel game that looked like a cassette. Take a look. If Adventure has a first name, it's Indiana. And if playing a board game that looks like a cassette tape has a last name, it's the Indiana Jones traveling board game cassette game. Check it out. It's one of the only games I can think of made for kids that has a Nazi logo. Oh, look at that. And all those Nazi logos. I see at least 3 of them, and I see some cobras. I see Indiana Jones. Look like he's swinging with one hand. I see an elephant. One of my favorite things to see in an Indiana Jones movie. And there's another character down at the bottom. Not really sure who he is. And there's looks like a bunch of little round things on the board that look like the game pieces from Trivial Pursuit. This is a very cool item. I would really love to have this one here. Like I said, you don't see as much Indiana Jones stuff as you do, of course, Marvel and Star Wars. So this would be really, really cool to own. Wait a minute. It has SWAT stickers on it. And I just said I wanted to own it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it had a Nazi thing on it when I got ready to talk about it. So no, I don't want this to be sold on eBay, Amazon. I don't want anyone to ever own this. It's a toy for kids that had SWAT stickers on it. I'm gonna get canceled for sure. Saying games are made for girls, making age jokes, fat shaming, and now I'm promoting the sale of Nazi symbols on kid toys. I understand if you unsubscribe to the channel. Just can't help it. I'm a toxic white male. All I do is evil stuff, no matter what I say and do. Anyway, that's a look at the Looks like the camera decided to just cut off right then in the middle I was talking. I guess they didn't like that I was talking about SWAT stickers or Nazi symbols. So I guess even my camera was trying to cancel the Junkman. Anyway, we're going to cut the video. I've talked about them all, so I didn't lose anything. So just want to let you know about this game. I hope if you've never seen it before, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you had it, knew about it, or if you didn't have it, would you have liked this as a kid? I know I would have. It would have been a lot of fun on those road trips. Anyway, as always, so much to know you like my content. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.